Hey guys, all right, so I'm getting ready to film a YouTube video, so let's go ahead and put some makeup on to get ready and we can have a little chit chat. I just feel like I've been in a very interesting space lately with everything that's been going on in my life. Is like I'm having constant up and downs with my feelings and like my emotions and stuff like that. Um, I feel like I really am now understanding what people mean when they say like healing is an up and down roller coaster, because I feel like that's exactly what my life has been these past 3 going on 4 months, I will say. So um if you follow me on and like are tuned into my Insta stories, that's where all the that's where all the feelings take place. That's where I share all my emotions and everything that's going on in my life. That's kind of like my open book little situation. And I feel like I've shared a lot on there, just the ups and downs that I'm going through, especially like with my husband's passing and stuff. I found out about his infidelities and all that stuff. And it has just set me on the craziest roller coaster, especially because I did not know about any of this while he was here. And it's like, even though I had suspicions and I had like intuition, I could never prove it. And then to add to that, we have 4 kids. So I'm like, okay, I can't prove something. But my gut is telling me something's happening, but I can't prove it. Am I gonna leave my kids to not have a father just because of how I'm feeling? That's kind of like where I was at with everything. Um, so now, like in hindsight, like just every day is a battle, because now it's like all that happens all day every day is like I just replay all like the different things that have transpired in our marriage. I replay it in my head and I'm like, oh, so that's what he was doing then. Okay, that's where he was going then. And to be honest, it just feels like torture. um I'm very real with myself and open and honest with how I'm feeling, because I feel like it's the only way to heal. I can't act like I'm some big bad unaffected person that like, or whatever. I know that I'm quality and I'm valuable and all that stuff, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that it hurts. So I'm allowing myself to deal with my emotions and feel my feelings and be upset if I want to be upset and talk about it if I want to talk about it and get angry if I want to get angry, and just let it be. And I feel like there's so much freedom in being transparent, open, and honest. I feel like you take your power back when you do that. And it's like, for especially in a situation like me where apparently the whole world knew, the whole everyone knew but me. Like in a situation like that, is like, what am I really hiding? Everybody knew but me. Nobody told me anything. Nobody gave me a heads up. And I'm not saying that anybody was obligated to, but the truth of the matter is everybody knows this. So there's no point in trying to hide the truth from the world. You know what I mean? So I've just been on a journey with that. I feel like that has complicated my grief in ways unimaginable, because it's like, I feel like right now I'm going through a breakup. Like, I'm not even going through, I don't feel like I feel the same way as somebody who just lost the love of their life or their husband, and they're like, oh my God, the best man ever. I'm never going to find anyone like him. Right now, I'm like, oh my God, this man was not anything like who I thought he was. So it's like, on top of me having to realize that our marriage was a lie, I have to also come to terms with the fact that like everything that I thought wasn't. And then on top of that, I have to deal with the fact that he did me wrong and dipped out. Like, that's how it feels. It's like he did me wrong and dipped out without ever having to suffer the consequences of me leaving him or him having to see his family move on or anything like that. And I know that obviously that's not really how it's happening. I'm just sharing my raw feelings and like my emotions about everything. But it's just a crazy thing. Like for me, I feel like I'm so disappointed. I'm disappointed because it's like how horrible of a human being do you have to be to do this to your family, you know? Like, and for those of you guys that don't know, my husband literally passed away coming back from cheating on me. So it's like, and I found out basically after he passed, I had to go retrieve his belongings from the car. And sorry, this is my summer color, so I know it looks kind of crazy, but we gonna make it work. I had to retrieve his belongings from the car, and that's when everything came out. And what I think is like the another reason, because I've been asking myself, like, how did I not know? Like, how did I not see like the evidence? You know what I mean? And I feel like why I didn't is because he did such an elaborate job of hiding it from me. For instance, when I got his phone, he was saving the girls under his work friends' number names. And then he had them under like misspelled versions of his work friends. So like for instance, let's say like for me, if I was cheating or whatever, instead of having it saved under a guy's name saved under Brittany, he'll have it with one T instead of two or something like that. And so he was saving the girls' numbers under like work, Brandon Work, Walter Tech, like things like that. And so that's one way that I didn't really notice, because whenever we would be in the car, I would have his phone, like nothing crazy would pop up. I also feel like when he would get home from doing whatever he was doing, I think that he was also like blocking the people so they wouldn't even text. They wouldn't even text or call because they were probably blocked. And how in the world would I even know to go through his contacts and see who he has blocked and who he doesn't? So it's like, I just feel like he went to great lengths to cheat on me and great lengths to deceive me. And also, it's like when I had to go retrieve his belongings from the car, I something told me to go look in the trunk. So I went to go look in the trunk and I lifted up the spare tire. This man literally barricaded condoms to the bottom of his spare tire. Like at this point, it's giving desperate to cheat. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know what to do with that. Like at this point, you were working overtime to cheat and to do me how you were doing me. You know? So now that I look back on it, it's like, how was I supposed to know? At first, I was beating myself up so bad. I'm like, Nina, somebody played you, and like you didn't even see the signs. You didn't even, nothing. And it's like, at the end of the day, I'm gonna cut myself slack because I'm sorry, I don't know how to think like a criminal when I'm not a criminal. I don't know how to be on high alert to be played when I'm in covenant with somebody and I'm married to somebody and I'm supposed to be in my safe space. So I gave up that whole narrative of like beating up myself and it's my fault. I didn't see the signs. How could I be so stupid? I loved somebody. I gave myself and my body to somebody and they decided to do what they wanted to do with it. And that's just that on that. And right now I'm just on an interesting journey because it is hard. I have my days where I'm good and I'm like, you know what, his loss, whatever. Then I have my days where I'm like, how dare you? Like I literally want to dig you up right now and I want you to feel my wrath of how disrespectful you've been to me and your kids, kind of thing. But I feel like that's all a part of the healing journey. Um I mean, what can I do? You know what I mean? He chose those things and I have to be okay with it. 1 second. He chose his life and he made his bed and he got to lie in it. And I have to be okay with that. It's what's done is done. What has happened has happened and there's just really nothing I can do about it. Um it hurts. It doesn't make it any less easy to go through. And it's like, let's be real. We have 4 kids. It's like it's hurtful because not only am I hurting, my kids are hurting. And it's like to know that they're hurting for something that was completely preventable. It's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. I'm not gonna lie. Like to see my kids every night crying for their father and missing him and asking if they can go to heaven to see him is heartbreaking and is gut wrenching. And it kind of fuels my anger towards the situation because it's like you really had to cheat. Like you had to cheat. You just really had to do it. You really had to go out with your friends and meet girls at the club and do all that you were doing. Look at how your kids are hurt. Look at everything that has happened from you making this decision that you wanted to make, you know? So it's not easy, but one thing I am learning and one thing that I've like truly decided to remind myself about each day is that one person's inability to see your worth has nothing to do with you. And I have to keep reminding myself that because with infidelity, what happens a lot of times is that we start feeling inadequate and we start feeling unworthy and, oh, what was wrong with me? Where did I fall short? None of it is our fault. None of it. And it's solely somebody's choice and decision to do what they did. And it's like at this point I just have to make peace with it. Sorry y'all, I had to do a little bit off camera. I felt like I was over talking too much, boring you guys. But one thing that I saw online today that really helped me with everything was this guy was talking about how nothing is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. When you're a light, people are attracted to light. And you make them look good, you make them feel good, you're good for their image. And for the same reasons that they like you, they try to destroy you. And I feel like that was so powerful because I'm not gonna lie, that's something I have been struggling with. I'm like, why does this happen to me? Like, I was faithful, I was loyal. I when I tell you guys, like, I'm not saying I'm perfect and I just am this untouchable person, but when I say I took my marriage so serious, like I took my marriage so serious. Like when I tell you I would wake up, pray over my family, over my kids, over my household, over my husband. Before he would leave for work, I would literally like anoint his car. I would pray over him. I would fast, take him to deliverance services, all that stuff. And it's like when I found out everything, I was like, God, like, I did everything right. Everything right. Like, how could you let this happen to me? Is kind of like how I felt. And I felt so betrayed and hurt. And I feel like that video really helped me because it has nothing to do with God letting me down or me not performing well enough. It had everything to do with my husband's decisions and what he chose for his life. And it's like that's like the hardest pill to swallow because it's like a part of me feels like because also I'm a mom, so it's like hard because it's like you're like, okay, I'm interceding for this person on their behalf, praying for them on their behalf. Like, God, why didn't you save them on my behalf off of my prayers and all the hard work that I put in, you know? And that's where I had to kind of grow because it's like you cannot manipulate people with prayer. You cannot manipulate situations with prayer. At the end of the day, God gives us free will and we all have the right to exercise it. No matter how much we love somebody, no matter how much we want it to work, no matter how much we pray and fast and do everything, at the end of the day, you cannot manipulate people and things with prayer. And it's like, that's the thing that I learned. I'm like, okay, God, I see what you're saying. Um, yeah, so it's like that's where I am right now. It's been 3 months since everything. Um, believe it or not, there's been so much good that has happened in my life despite all of this. I was able to sell my house, which that in itself is a whole nother story time, but whatever. I was able to sell my house. I got a townhouse for my kids and I now. Um, I'm proud of myself. Like I'm picking myself up every day by the bootstraps and I'm showing up, whether I'm crying, whether I'm in tears, whether I'm in shambles. I don't have time for depression. I have 4 kids to take care of. So it's like I don't have time for it. And I'm not allowing the space and opportunity for it to happen. And I feel like also what has been helping me has been just being transparent, coming on here, talking, sharing my story on Instagram, stuff like that, because but there's so much power in speaking things out and getting it off your chest and remaining lighthearted. And I feel like with me, the way I am, I'm such a loving, compassionate, caring person. And it's like, I don't want to be bogged down with negativity. And the minute I start feeling those feelings, I just release it, let it out, speak it, and move on. And I feel like that's what's been able to help me this whole time. Just kind of get through the funk and the hard stuff, you know? And it's like, I'm still human. I still face my battles. Today was hard. But I'm like, Nina, show up every day for yourself. All that love that you were pouring into your husband, pour it into yourself. All that interceding and praying and fasting and all that stuff, pour it into yourself. You know? All in all, I will say, like, I feel like through this whole process, God has truly shown me, like, God has truly shown his love for me. I feel like all my life I've always struggled with feeling loved, especially by God, just because of all the things that have transpired in my life. And I feel like God, in more ways than I can even ever explain on here, God has shown me like he's with me, like he has a purpose and a plan for my children and I, and that everything is going to be okay. And um I know sometimes it's hard, and actually a lot of times it's hard, to be honest, but it's like there's a hope there that I feel like God has filled me with. And I just couldn't be more thankful for it, because it's like, who would have ever thought that like I would be a widow at 32? You know what I mean? And it's like, it's a hard pill to swallow. You kind of feel like, I don't know where to go from here. You kind of feel like, okay, God, like what's next, you know, kind of thing. But I feel just a strong sense of like God's presence with me. And I know that he has a plan, and I know that he's making a way. And that's just really what I have found comfort in. Um, so yeah, that's where I'm at. I plan on just diving into this life, this new journey head first, and just making the best out of it, and just sharing my story and just being open, honest, and transparent, because there's other women out there. There's other women out there going through stuff. And I feel like God has called us to turn our like test into testimonies and our mess into a message. And that's what I'm here for. Um, I'm not embarrassed of anything that I've been through or anything that's happened to me. I'm always going to keep my head up high, and I'm always going to live in my truth. That's just me. I don't keep up facades. I don't try to make things that are not as though they are. I don't do any of that. Like, it is what it is. Like, you know, it happened. What am I going to do now? Kind of thing. So, yeah. Let me go fix the top camera. 1 second. All right, y'all. Y'all, my makeup. I don't even remember how to do makeup, like, at all. Like, I haven't worn makeup in years. And so, forgive me for this makeup look in advance. But it is what it is. I just plan on filming a couple videos and getting back into the swing of things. So that's why. So, y'all, forgive me if it's not giving what it's supposed to give. Um, yeah, it is what it is. Um, but yeah, man, I'm really optimistic about the future. I know God has good good things in store for me, and it's really just up to me to keep going, which I will, of course, and just being positive and just making sure that I allow God to use me in this season. It doesn't really feel good to be used. Nobody wants their life, shaken up, whatever. But at the end of the day, when you really think about it, what are we here for? Um, we all have to die someday. We all have to leave someday. Might as well spend it doing God's will. And I feel like that's just what's kept me going so far. It's just kind of changing my outlook on things. Um, yeah, so I will have lots of updates for you guys because I'm back on YouTube and social media and my content and stuff. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, anything you want me to touch base on or talk about, let me know. I will be more than happy to do that. I'm an open book. So yeah, love you guys.